if we look at Hong Kong in the first few days of the year when it's been open, it's been a pretty bright start, up 11%, a little better since the start of January. When we get going again today after a break, what are you anticipating?
So from our perspective, we are tactically bullish on China stocks. We've been bullish since, call it late November. And I think my sense is I think stocks in Hong Kong would probably remain on the stronger side. I think what we might see in the months ahead is improvement in many of these activity indicators. Specifically, we would focus on PMIs. And as that happens, we can also expect some sort of earnings upgrades also, which will give another kind of boost to stock prices. So quite positive from our perspective.
How much longer do you think that China reopening trade has got to go?
That's an interesting question. And, this is a very topical question from our investors as well. So what we did was we looked at previous instances of the trends in PMIs for many Asian countries. And what we tried to kind of gauge was how long does it take for PMIs to go from a trough point during the pandemic to the peak point. And what we observed was that usually the recovery from the trough usually takes around 9 to 10 months. So it's quite possible that in the months ahead, possibly this improvement may take around 7 to 8 months in the case of China. And that means as far as stock market is concerned, at least for next 3 to 4 months, the recovery, reopening trade will probably sustain. Of course, that calendar view would change if, let's say, we see like a 20% surge in China stocks in the month ahead, because then, people will obviously start questioning about valuations. For now, valuations are quite decent, still below averages, and I think there's still room for valuations to increase.
Broadly speaking, the tech cycle downturn, we've talked about tech gloom in the U.S. We got Tesla, we got Microsoft yesterday, we've gotten IBM, we've gotten so many, well, enough to kind of put this question to you. When you look at the outlook for the U.S., when you look at what's happening in Asia, what do you see there in terms of a positive factor for your argument on China being a good buy?
For China, I think the big call really is, what happens with the economic recovery. I think the tech part, the US tech part, global tech part probably has larger implications for some other markets in Asia, Korea, Taiwan. But for China, it's really reopening recovery. And I think, as I said, if we see stronger signs of economic growth in the months ahead, I think the stock prices will definitely get a boost. But the tech cycle downturn, maybe some parts of the China equity space, let's say smartphones and all, might have some implications. But for me, China, at least for the next 3 to 6 months, it's going to be about reopening and recovery.